I just want to take a moment to offer this perspective and hopefully this lens to you all who are watching, giving yourself so much more kindness and grace and compassion because you absolutely deserve it. When capacity changes, identity can be affected too. Many people living with lupus quietly grieve their changes in energy and stamina and independence, grieving difficulty keeping up the way that they used to, feeling misunderstood, especially because our symptoms, our illness is invisible. I think in society, there is a lot more like grace and leeway and compassion when an individual has some sort of physical disability that's visible to others, like, oh, okay, let me open the door for you, are ambulating with the wheelchair, versus someone who like looks fine and maybe even they're wearing heels. They're like, oh, you're fine, like, why are you taking up a handicap parking space? Like, two things. One, I can barely walk today, and then two, I can't really be in the sun. And so if I'm parking all the way there, it's going to have a cascading effect internally on my organs for the next 3 weeks. So I just want to absolutely normalize that. And hopefully you give yourself some grace as well. But in the meantime, maybe already you are noticing thoughts like I should be able to do more, like feeling guilty for needing rest, telling yourself or asking yourself, why can't I handle this like I used to? This is especially true for women. And 9 out of 10 individuals living with lupus are women, including many Latina and African American women who are often expected to be strong, superwoman, resilience, long suffering, aguantando, which means enduring and holding that all together no matter what. These reactions are understandable, and your body is just asking for support, not constant pushing through. And when we do take that support or ask for help, there can sometimes be some resistance from family members and friends who are used to you always being the person who shows up and comes through and does all the things, because the way that family systems work, the way that just systems in general, whether it be a friend group or family or whatever, is homeostasis. Like, people like things to stay the way they are. And so when all of a sudden you are not doing all the things and someone else has to, or they have to figure out their problem for their self instead of you doing it, there's going to be some resistance. Just know that you are not responsible for someone else's feelings. You're responsible for being kind, but then also taking care of your health, your wellness. And doing so will allow you, will rebuild your capacity where you can show up in those ways that are really important to you. Flares also, like, not just having lupus, but also when you're in a lupus flare, can make thinking even harder. So lupus symptoms feed into each other. Pain, fatigue, poor sleep, stress, inflammation. These usually don't happen like, okay, Monday I got pain, Tuesday I'm fatigued, Wednesday I had a hard time sleeping. Usually it's like everything and all the things all at once, and they do affect one another. Brain fog can make tasks feel more overwhelming. Fatigue worsens brain fog. Pain worsens fatigue. Overwhelm increases stress, and so on and so on. And so I know it may feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but you know who else is watching this live? It's not just you, it's your family member who cares about you and doesn't understand your internal experience, because maybe you didn't have language to articulate it before, or maybe there was some shame around it, or maybe you just didn't know. But in either case, that family member, that friend is also watching, and they need to understand what is happening to you and why it is so vital for you to say no to that next request, because you're saying yes to yourself and to your health. And because all this is happening, this is why pushing through can often backfire. So the skills in this workshop are designed to work with your body, with your mind and your nervous system, and not against them. Oh, what is happening? Okay, let me see if I can fix this. I don't know what's happening. Okay, all
There
right.
we go.
So
Looks good.
common myths. Okay, I should be able to push through this. That's a myth. The reality is that pushing through and pushing through overload often worsens symptoms, makes things worse, both in the short term and in the long term, especially if you're not doing activity pacing. So, like doing a little bit each day, but you're just like, oh, I finally feel good. I have a little bit less fatigue, or like my steroids are on point today. Let me, like, do all the things. And then you're laid out for the next 3, 4 days or even weeks. Myth, if I keep forgetting things, I'm failing. Reality, memory difficulties come from inflammation, fatigue, and cognitive overload. It's not a lack of trying. And then lastly, resting means I'm unproductive. And that usually really hits home because these are messages that are cultural, American society and familial, and especially if you're any kind of caregiver, that can especially be something that is communicated either verbally or non-verbally. And so let's kind of start to decondition ourselves from that belief and realize and really commit to our hearts that targeted rest protects our functioning and supports our recovery.